Not all Muslims are radicalized, but all radicalized terrorists are Muslims.
Using federal tax dollars to buy guns for teachers is more in line and more in the boundaries of what the federal money should be used for than even textbooks or after-school programs.
Mass shooting is such a phony description anyway, because we don't call them mass knifings when they happen in the UK.
So when they say enough is enough with the thoughts and prayers, I say enough with taking God out of our culture, a quest that is at least partly to blame for the violence we see today.
The liberals in America and ISIS, they both hate America.
Satan hates everything good about America. So does Kaepernick.
Men were made to create. They were made to conquer. And if they don't have something to conquer, if they're told by the culture, just sit back, just be comfortable, don't do anything dangerous. No, men were meant to be dangerous.
The wussification of America. It's not just school shootings. It's everything. Kids are afraid of everything today.
Young men are being turned into second-rate women.
Why do you call Donald Trump a racist? Why do you race bait? Why do you follow the lead of Barack Obama and continue to divide this nation? That is not what Martin Luther King was about.
The black community has been in this enslaved mentality with the Democratic Party for forever, and you can see that.
We have tens of thousands of Jewish NRA members, and most Jews fully realize the importance of firearms. Considering their past, Chelsea Manning is now running for the United States Senate. Bradley Manning, Chelsea Manning, whatever she wants to call herself, himself. It's not mass shootings or killing children in overwhelming numbers. It's black on black crime. Once you start throwing rocks, as the president said, that should be considered like a firearm.
This is the same playbook we've seen in Europe. It's an invasion under the guise of migration.
The people helping a migrant mob filled with not just the well-intentioned immigrants, but sadly criminals and gang members and sex traffickers and, yes, even self-admitted murderers. They will march out all kinds of victims of gun violence, so-called gun violence. I don't really like that term because it's people violence that we're really talking about. My fear is the desperation on behalf of the left will be seen in false flags, publicity stunts, and, yes, an escalation of violence from the tens of thousands of left-wingers who partake in the intimidation and destruction tactics now perfected by the left.
All of the out-of-control anger and screaming that we've seen on television and at protests in this country, those weren't law-abiding gun owners. Those were progressives.
Linda Sarsauer is the head of the Women's March. She works with Black Lives Matter. She believes in Sharia, meaning the full Sharia. She believes in overthrowing the U.S. government in support of Islamic jurisprudence.
I believe she could have been talked into remembering something she may not have. Talking to her friends on a beach. You need to call the news, they declare. The shrieking shrill of women in the back there screaming all kinds of socialist nonsense.
The Believe All Women thing and the Me Too movement thing was an attempt to hijack real trauma and real emotional abuse and real serious physical abuse that women have suffered, and it was an attempt to hijack it and use it as a vehicle for political purpose.
That now one allegation can ruin somebody. It reminds me much of the McCarthy hearings. Boys tackling people off a bed and then running away. You know, I'm sorry, but that is not a federal crime or even a state crime. That's hijinks for boys.
There's nothing wrong with a little bit of crazy, man. A little bit of crazy can be fun. I'm not talking about marrying her. I'm just talking about a date or two.
Her Topham hat clearly is white, but the trains? I mean, I'm looking at this picture, and I'm really, really struggling to understand how in the world there isn't any diversity in any of this. Oh.
They want to increase storage laws and give penalties to the victims for not storing their guns properly, and they make no mention of going after the criminals.
That's like shaming a rape survivor.
We as Americans, I'm sad to say, we're not learning lessons from other events, and we could have learned, whether it was Benghazi or any other school shooting. This school wasn't ready, and they should have been. No other newspaper, no other television station allowed me, even though I was licensed, to carry my firearm at work. I would have been just like those people hiding under desks when a man with a shotgun is firing wildly at them. So he joined President Obama in an all-out jihad against cops. Putting on a badge is like putting on a target. The rich tradition of serving as a law officer has been tarnished by the media and the left.
Sexy cable news anchor whose entire knowledge on guns is based on the "what is an assault weapons" Google search she did while standing in a Starbucks line this morning before work, she gets to be part of the conversation.
Anyone associated with the mainstream media should be asking for a pardon. They are the ones who have abused and even weaponized the First Amendment.
Their fate will be failure, and they will perish in the political flames of their own fires. We are the National Rifle Association of America, and we are freedom's safest place.
My entire life right now is about owning the libs. That's it.